Being here today, we'll call this meeting to order. All right. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one correction and put public comment before action items.
Okay, we have an amendment proposed. Do we have a second for that?
I second that.
Okay, we have a second. All we're doing is we're moving the public comment ahead of the action item in order to afford anybody who has something to comment about, specifically an action item, before we actually take action on that item. So now is the, so we'll take it to a vote before we go into that. All right. All in favor of the agenda as presented, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Say nay. All right. Motion carries. I'll entertain the next motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the regular meetings on March 20th, 2017.
Do we have a second? What do y'all think second?
You can second that.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? Okay, everybody good with it? All right, very good. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Well, now we'll go into public comment. Anybody that wishes to address the board may do so at this time concerning any issues regarding Parks and Rec. If you would keep your comments down to about 3 minutes, we'd appreciate it. Yes, just come up, identify yourself, and address the board, please.
I'm Renee Price, and I'm addressing over the softball complex. I go to the softball complex at least 5 times a week with the Little Girl Softball League. They are not taking care of our concession stand door. It takes us at least an hour to get it open and closed. There's holes all over the park. We can't let our girls go all the way in the outfield because they'll fall in a hole. They were just out there. They don't ever throw the trash. There's always trash where they've just blown over. The city doesn't pick it up. It's really bad out there. They drove through right after the rain Monday, and now there's big ruts out there. They didn't even fill them in. So we were having to try to get around the ruts.
Okay. Have you brought these issues to anybody's attention before today, ma'am?
I have talked to Marla Price about them.
Okay, all right. We'll take care of it. Best we can.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Price. All right. Anybody else?
To add to that, can we add to that?
Not during this time. It's not a discussion item. It's just a public comment time is all it is.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? All right. Very good. We'll go on into action items. The approval of a disc golf course design. James?
Sir. Mayor, members of the board, so we've been working on the disc golf course design. We're ready to actually get going. Miss Ball was put in charge of this project. There she is. Miss Ball was put in charge of this project. She plays and she knows people locally who actually play. They did have a public meeting where we invited local players in to look at the different designs, and the design that we provided you a handout for that we have here, this is the final design that we would like to move forward with, which it utilizes all of the open space in the park, and the only area that we said that was off limits was this particular area here, because in our master plan we identified that for future playground equipment and also shelters. So we do have one that skirts the driveway entrance here that basically throw from here to here. This is a 36-hole course, which one is for amateur. It will have amateur tees, and then we'll have professional tees. It utilizes a lot of our open space. We'll have signage all over. We'll have warning signs as well to let people know that there will be flying discs. But there's been quite a bit of interest. How many people attended your public meeting?
There was 16 of them.
16.
That's good. That's good.
So a lot of excitement, but this is actually the last step that we have, is to just have you guys approve the course, and we can get started on it.
So it's 18 holes for amateur and 18 for pro?
Yes.
And what's the difference between the two?
Actually, the guy that runs the course over in Hobbs,
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, just announce who you are and give them, he has more,
All right,
he knows more of all the technical
please.
stuff.
All right.
Hi, my name's Marshall Hayes, and I'm actually the president of the Hobbs Disc Golf Association. We got a lot of local guys here in Lovington that come play our course in Hobbs, and we're starting to incorporate that club into Hobbs and Lovington. So I worked pretty close with the designer of this course, so any questions, I could probably walk you through it. Pretty easy. The difference between the amateur tee pads and the pro tee pads is basically footage, right? So the pro tees, they're going to be probably the 400 to 500 foot range, as opposed to the amateur tees where they're the 200 to 300 foot range. They're also adjusted in the design to where you'll get a different look at the basket for the pros and the amateurs. And it's a really great design, and there was a lot of work put into it.
Good, good. Well, we appreciate your input.
Absolutely.
You know, I played that a couple of times, and I made the mistake of showing up with one
One disc?
disc.
Yeah,
Kinda
no,
showed up
it's
on a golf course with one.
yeah. It's a lot of fun. We've got a lot of youth involved. We're doing a lot of great things in
It's
the
a great
community with it, and we appreciate y'all's support on it.
Absolutely. Thank you for your
Thank
work and your input
Yeah.
on this.
Any other questions?
Any questions from the board?
So you're just gonna have baskets, or how does that work? Do you stand on a pad, or?
Yeah, so they're, like he said, 18 holes. You have a tee pad, which is a concrete pad. And down the fairways, you've got what's called baskets. They catch the disc, pull it out of the air when you throw it. It's played a lot
That's a
like ball
blast.
golf, right? It's scored the same way, least amount of throws, lowest scores better. A lot of fun.
You have discs that are shorter, like putting discs or
Yeah,
putter discs?
absolutely. There's
long
putters,
distance?
drivers, mid-ranges.
See, I didn't know that. See?
All different weights.
Floaters?
They're
Oh, I had a-
yeah,
I had a-
floaters.
Well, I brought a couple of those because they ended up in the lake. They did. I remember that.
So, yeah, the sky's the limit on the type of plastic and the aerodynamics you can do with these discs. It's pretty amazing.
Who sells them around here?
Locally, the Hobbs Community, Rockwind Community Links actually just picked up a display, and they're starting to sell. And is that K&K
Yeah.
Supplies?
Oh, very
K&K.
good. We sell them locally?
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
K&K Supplies has a pretty good selection going on
Great.
there.
Great.
And it looks like we've got a new distributor coming on board here pretty quick. Talon Williams back here, Talon's been a key in getting a lot of funding procured for this as well.
Oh, is that right?
So, yes, sir.
Very good. Does Hibbett sell anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of, no. None of the, Hastings was the best place to
I
get
remember
one
that.
before they closed their doors. Or
That's right.
What about Big Five?
Big Five, they have a really small selection of them, but they are in there. You can actually get your starter packs there.
I know Shopco had some starter packs at the first of the summer, but they're
Yeah.
gone, they sold.
Yeah.
So.
So y'all's course in Hobbs is at McAdams, is that correct?
Yeah, Harry
Yeah,
McAdams.
I
And
played that course.
we're in the talks of getting another course put in at Del Norte as well.
Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, and the Hobbs Community Links right across the street from Harry McAdams, the ball golf course, they've been outstanding. They're letting us put tournaments on there, put up portable baskets. They've actually purchased some baskets of their own
Wow.
and are starting to get involved with it over there. They've been a lot of help. We've put on some pretty nice tournaments over there.
So ours will be permanent baskets at our
Absolutely,
course, correct?
yes, permanent course. And you know, with a park like this and a design like this, there's a lot that can be done with it. You know, these tournaments, they bring in revenue to the city, people getting hotel rooms, stopping at your gas stations, eating at the restaurants.
Sure.
It's a pretty good revenue maker for the city as well.
Are those green dots the tees or the?
So yeah, the green dots are actually your basket locations.
Okay.
So green dots are your short basket locations. Blue dots are your long basket locations. Where you see the white line and the red line, if you follow that through, the end of that line is where your tee box is. That's where you'll be teeing off from.
So are we gonna have a lot of discs in the lake, you think?
Yes, the disc will go in the lakes, but you know, we got these pretty nifty retrievers, so we can get them without having to get into the water, but it doesn't work every time, but there will be disc going into the water, absolutely.
Well, you can actually
And-
have boats on the
And
lake.
everywhere you see an arrow here is going to be a Mando area, right? That's where they're going to force the shot to stay within that fairway. So the yellow arrows will be a Mando sign,
Yep.
which basically tells the person throwing the disc that if they get outside of that Mando, it's an OB and it's a stroke, and nobody wants to do that. So it's a really good way of keeping everything within a certain area.
My only concern is that those holes close to the lake. Is that a pro?
Those are the pro tees.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
And
they love
And really, you
They
know, a
love-
lot
they
of
love
our
it.
amateur players can make that shot these days. So it's
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Okay. What do you guys think about that? Get some input from you.
I played it once and it was really fun, and now that it's here locally, I mean, we can introduce more people to the sport and have more fun.
So you enjoyed it?
Mhm.
Very good. Alexis, what do you think?
I've never played it, but it sounds fun.
$5 a game.
We'll have to get you out there.
I'm just kidding. Andres, what are your thoughts, Mark?
I think it's a good idea. I think we need more and more stuff for everybody, the kids and adults to do.
Andres?
Same concern you had with the lake, I do have a concern with, is that 4?
Which one?
4, going into the, it could get into the highway or maybe into the,
There's actually a lot of trees.
and there's also a
In the
fencing
background.
Right here.
booster station too.
Right.
You come from
Good point, though.
Yes.
Good
So number 4, we came out and we played a portables round with it, where we brought all the portable baskets and we played around, shot around, and because we were concerned about that as well, but everybody's shots were right there where they needed to be. We didn't see a lot of the OBs.
Do you have a pointer with you by any chance?
No, I don't.
Would you mind, if you can, showing us the amateur,
Laser pointer.
Sure.
the amateur holes?
Yeah, so
With
right
one-
here, you see the red line right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the amateur tee pad,
Okay,
and that's going to be the professional tee pad.
okay,
This is going to be what's called the short basket location right
Okay.
here. So each hole will have 2 basket locations.
okay.
And basically, it's just a sleeve, metal sleeve that cements into the ground with a locking mechanism on it. You can move those baskets really easy from position to position. Really nice when, you know, everybody's been playing that particular basket position for a long time. You've got the option to move it over here.
Let me ask you about this. So when you say you can move it, anybody can move it?
Well, anybody can move it as long as they have access to the lock and keys.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, so.
So
We'll
anybody-
say qualified personnel can move it.
Okay, all right, good.
So,
I was fixing to become a basket distributor.
real quick, right? So yeah, it's and you know we haven't had any problems. Once you lock them down, they're good to go. You have to work pretty hard to steal that basket.
Okay, very good, very good. Go on if you don't mind.
Well,
From there, where do you go from there?
okay, so that was hole 4, right? So from there, you would cross the driveway here, go to right here. This is hole 5.
Let me ask you, Marshall, I'm sorry, where's hole 1, I guess? Where do we
Hole
begin?
1 is right here in this area.
Okay,
So this is that, I believe, amphitheater.
okay.
No, that's the volleyball, sand volleyball.
That's
Okay.
the sand volleyball. Oh, here's the amphitheater. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
All right.
So, yeah, white tee box position. This hole is actually going to share a tee box.
Okay.
One direction it'll be the
Oh, I
pro
see the
box,
numbers now.
and then the other direction it'll be the amateur box. So you'll play to these 2 basket positions.
Okay,
Well, depending on where the basket is at that time. And then at that point, you'll move over, play hole 2,
okay.
hole 3,
Okay,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
you seen that?
walk around 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and end right back here. It makes the flow really nice. We're anticipating a lot of parking in this area
Mhm.
for the course. So you start near the parking area and finish near the parking area.
All right, very good. So the amateur course You don't have to throw across the lake.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
All right. I'm trying to save my
For us,
distance.
That's for the big arms out of the group.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Huh?
And water hazards are a great addition to these courses.
Okay. All right.
People love it.
See, we see those as an issue, but they see those as a challenge.
We
right?
see it as a challenge. The more trees, the more obstacles we can get in the way, the funner the course is. So.
Why it says I don't have to buy discs, I just retrieve them later on.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Well,
And you can see all the OBs, right? So your cart paths here are going to be OB at all times. So
OB,
that's,
what is that?
OB is out of bounds.
Okay.
And if you do land in that cart path, you're automatically given a stroke on your card. So really good incentive to keep people away from there.
So let me ask you, are you going to have signage, depicting all the rules? Or
Absolutely. The idea is a practice basket in this area right here.
Okay.
With some sort of kiosk, some sort of main course map with information on the course,
Very good.
as well as T signs at every tee box that gives a depiction of the hole, the footage, where the basket positions are, and a whole lot of watch for flying disc and OB signs, right? So it's all about educating the park users when this first happens. When they see those signs, it just lets them, get a feel for that there will be disc in the air, and as well as the players, educating the players as well to compensate for the park users at all times.
James, any issues with our insurance regarding any accidents that take place out there?
No, sir, it's the same
Okay.
with anything. There's probably actually less of a risk with this. But
Okay.
no, this falls under our umbrella coverage.
Okay, very good.
The discs, what are they made? Are they like just?
Plastic, different types of plastic, different molds, different brands, different weights, different dynamics.
Different costs.
Different costs. You could, you could go spend $30 and get going, or you could have $1,000 worth of disc in your bag. Just depending.
And you can buy a set, correct?
You can buy the starter sets, absolutely.
Yeah, that's me.
And and that's good stuff. We all started with that,
Absolutely.
So, but you will progress. Eventually, you're going to want the better
See,
plastic.
I didn't go out with a set. I went out with one. Then I lost that one in the lake.
Yeah, it's
I didn't play too long.
no, not too much.
Frisbee or what?
It's a lot. The putters are pretty much exactly like a frisbee. Pretty much the same aerodynamic, same size. When you get into your mid ranges and drivers is where you're going to see them looking a lot different, get heavier, get fatter rims, slim rims, thick rims. And basically, you've got your overstable disc, your understable disc, which
What is
all
that, Marshall? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so understable disc would be, that's your flight pattern.
Okay.
When you throw that disc the right way you're supposed to throw it, that disc is going to have its own flight pattern. It could go out and it could start right and then left. It could start left and then right, and it's all over getting by your obstacles, right? If you've got your basket and your look is a tree here, tree there, low ceiling here, you just, you got your utility disc, your go-to disc that
Okay.
if you throw it, it's going to do what it's supposed to.
All right.
Compensate with a 30, 40 mile an hour wind.
Yep, 30, 40 mile an hour winds is actually a good thing at your back. Terrible thing in your face.
So are these drone adaptable?
Drone adaptable?
Yeah.
Maybe someday. Maybe some big magnets so they'll find the baskets real easy. So,
And the beauty of these are that you don't have to be real athletic, so somebody like Andres can take a tour and have a great time with it. Thanks, right?
we have people play all shapes and sizes out there.
How many active members do you have?
Active members in our club right now is 31.
31? And how many out of Lovington?
Probably 16. 16, I'd say. More than half of the club is out of Lovington.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah,
When I first heard of it, I really liked it. Any other questions for Marshall? I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I know it's not public comment, but I know you guys put a lot of work into this map and everything and this path, but my concern as a walker would be for someone like me, like me, not so athletic and not so good at throwing things. If I were out there and I hit a runner.
Hit a runner, yeah, so that's where the educating comes in.
But
That's
my,
where-
my other concern would be, is there any way we could move the path of the baskets where it wouldn't cross the walkways?
Oh, where they will not cross walkways? That's a huge rewrite. That's a huge rewrite. I'd hate to even get into that right now. Pretty much all the parks you see these courses in, they're gonna cross those walkways, which
Okay.
walkers always have right of way. That's, you know, that's disc golfers code. You know, if you have any bystanders out there, any non-disc golfers, any park users automatically have right of way. You let them clear, you talk to them, you do whatever you have to do to make a safe throw.
Because we did do this before, and I don't recall seeing walkways through. That's why I was like,
Right.
and there probably was.
As disc golfers, we understand there's days of the year you can't play, like holidays or sports you
Absolutely.
use, so you just automatically understand.
Heavy use days, you know, there's gonna be days you can't play all the holes. And that's where you skip that hole and move on to somewhere that's not occupied.
Are you gonna have any specific hours of use, or just when the park is open?
Just open park hours.
Yes, sir.
That brings a point up, in Hobbs, we have night rounds occasionally, because we have lights and we light up the baskets and play.
Glow golf.
Exactly.
It's
So,
really neat.
is there any exception to, because I know the park closes at dark, correct?
11
Would there be any variance of that if we needed, if we're not out there for malicious reasons, we're out there just.
Sure, sure. I'm
It
sure we
it
probably
closes at 11,
Closes at 11.
so what time do you do?
At dark, and it would usually take about 3 to 4 hours during a glow round to get through this course, depending on how many people you got showing up. So if it was allowed to do a glow round, that's about the time we would be shutting it down, would be that 11 to 12 o'clock range.
All right. And you know, we allow folks to to do cancer walks and so forth throughout the night or whatever, but I'm sure we could look at some type of variance for some special like that.
It'd be much appreciated, especially summer months. It's really nice to play in that
Sure,
you know, nighttime atmosphere. And if you ever seen a glow round, you would be really impressed. The club, actually, we own all the lights for the baskets and the LEDs that go on the disc, and you know, basically you light it up, and when you throw it, it looks like a flying saucer of some sort going through the air. It's really neat, really neat.
Let me ask you this, so do you have funding for advertising, or is that on behalf of the city? We gotta take care of that.
At this point, I'm unaware of any funding for advertising, but that would be a James
Can
question.
you speak on that, James?
Yes, Mayor and members of the board, one, word of mouth with the disc golf club, but also we plan on pushing this out as soon as we get it finished, completed. I was just talking with Member Price about having our, kind of like what we did with our capital improvement projects, with the signs so people know what's going on when they see these forums out there and these signs going up, and have actual ribbon cutting for it. So invite the public out to play.
On that note, my company, Holly Frontier, they're actually the ones paying for all the baskets and have donated that to the cause. They want to also have a big ribbon cutting tournament opening.
Sure, fantastic.
Weekend, so that'll be something that Debbie Bell will work with.
So they're funding the baskets?
All the
They're getting all the
baskets.
baskets.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you very much for that.
And that's a huge chunk of the cost.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's always social media. That's how we operate. Facebook, right? Facebook. You know, the Hobbs Facebook page has about 300 members right now. There was a Lovington Facebook page created that I was looking on the other day, and it's over 100 members at this point.
Oh, well. Let me ask you this: since you guys are the pros, do you offer any training, any lessons for folks that have never done before, or anything like that?
Nothing officially offered, but we've been talking about that. It's an initiative inside of our club. We're wanting to go do possibly Boy Scouts, elementary schools, working with the kids, putting on some clinics, and we're always available for that. Anybody who wants to come out and play that course, if you just post on the page, say, hey, I'm
High
new.
school kids? Right.
Just, we'll bring the disc, we'll, you know, show you the course. We're all about getting more people involved.
I think that'll be huge in promoting the disc golf course here in Lovington.
On that same note, I'm part of the Lubbock Wind Riders also because I'm originally from Lubbock, but they've been, I'm not so active since I live here now, but they started disc golf days for kids, so they shorten holes down to be able to have 5, 6-year-olds. My little girl's 5, she loves to throw the disc.
Yeah, very good.
We have a basket in our backyard, so
Cool.
I kind of want to talk to Marshall about getting smaller days like that, like Preston and them have started in Lubbock to get younger kids out there and active.
That's something we gotta get done.
Fantastic. This is even good for seniors who you know, need to get out and walk.
Absolutely, good exercise.
Absolutely.
Lots of benefits.
All right.
It is very good walking exercise. That's why I enjoyed it. I'm horrible at throwing, but I love to get out and walk.
Yeah.
This particular course from long tee pad, from pro pad to pro basket is about 8,000 feet.
Wow.
So,
That's one of the, well, that's about average.
it's about average. It's a long one though. It's on the longer side. Well, maybe not. Lubbock's got the big courses. But yeah.
You mentioned a disc retrieval device. What is that about?
They've got several different. You got your homemade rake head on the end of a rope, but they make a pretty neat one. It's got about 50, 60 foot of rope on it, and you drop it out. You can throw it out in there, and as you pull it past your disc, it'll grab it and pull it out of the water for you.
Will they float? Most of them?
Not the one I
Only
had.
specialized. They do sell discs that float, but 99% of them are going to sink as soon as they hit that water.
Anything under, I think, 147 grams.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions? James, anything to add or comment on? Okay. Any questions, girls? Now's your chance. No? All right. Don't be
The
shy.
only last question I got is,
Yes, sir.
when you talk about pro and amateur, is this going to be a qualifying course to something else?
Absolutely. This is going to be a sanctionable course for professional level tournaments to be held here.
And how many do you anticipate in a year?
How many tournaments to be held? I'd like to see 4 a year here, easily. One every quarter would be nice.
So these professional tournaments, are they able to, they got to pay in?
Absolutely.
And then they win money?
Yeah, you pay in an entry fee. The pros win money. The amateur divisions win merchandise.
Oh, wow.
So,
Very good. Are you guys pros?
no, sir.
Really?
No, we're not pro level.
Okay.
Just in our hearts.
Okay. Someday, huh?
That's right.
All
Someday.
right. Very good.
There's actually Austin Criswell from Hobbs. He's sponsored by Project Disc.
Yeah, we do have a 14-year-old youth who just got picked up with a sponsorship.
Is that
He's
right?
really good. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so
Wow.
they pay for all his merchandise to go play these tournaments.
It must be pretty good then.
He is good. He beats up on us on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Let me put it that way.
He doesn't take your money, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think he could call us a sponsor as well.
Okay.
Another thing too, just talking about tournaments and stuff, it's not uncommon to see people travel 3 hours to play a tournament. So,
Well, that'd be great to have him here.
and then also too, with Hobbs, we have minis twice a week, and we'll try and incorporate that down here to kind of go back and forth between the cities having
Yeah.
mini, which is just smaller get-togethers.
It's like you said, we call them minis, and we do them twice a week, and it's basically anybody who wants to come in, throw in $5 plus the club fee, and we organize these little events, and everybody plays for bag tags or money, and we do them twice a week. But as soon as this course gets cracked open, we're going to be 1 week in Lovington, 1 week in Hobbs, 1 week in Lovington, 1 week in Hobbs, and we've got a tournament coming up in Hobbs, November 18th and 19th. It's going to be a B-tier sanctioned event, and we're expecting about 140 people with that. And we're really wanting to incorporate this course into one of the layouts for that tournament. It's a 2-day tournament, and day one, A pool would play Hobbs, B pool would play Lovington. Swap them around, and then second day would be at the golf course.
Wow.
So,
Fantastic.
We've already done a couple successful sanctioned events in Hobbs and had over 100 people show up. So,
Really? Fantastic. Well, we're really excited about having this opportunity here in Lovington as well. We really appreciate all your help
absolutely.
and your input on this.
Thank you. For
Any
your
other
support.
comments from the board? Questions? All right. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thank you.
When will this be up and
Thank you.
operating?
Good question. Andres has one more question.
Sure.
When will this be up and operating?
Up and operating after today. Our goal is 2 to 3 months to get this going. It all depends on how we can procure all the funds, and James will be working hand in hand with him to figure out when we can get the equipment and material we need to start getting it put in.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Marshall, and what was the young man's name back there?
That's Talon Williams.
What, I'm sorry?
Talon
Talon.
Williams?
Talon what?
Williams?
Okay.
Yes, Williams.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate everything.
Do you have a question, Talon? Okay, all right. So you need approval for the design at this point, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
James? Okay. All right, any questions or discussion from the board? What do you think, Alexis? Yay or nay?
I think it'll be.
Yeah, yeah. Any issues with the design that you see? Or Taylor? You guys okay with it? You're going to put your stamp of approval on it? Because once you do, that means it's good to go. You know? That's the beauty of serving on this board, see? Andres?
The only question I have, which I don't think it was covered, is what's the city's cost?
Good question.
I know that we had some of the costs this current fiscal year that we're in, about $4,000, and we budgeted, I believe it was another $10,000 for this next fiscal year. And that will take care of the signage, that will take care of the concrete, and with Navajo sponsoring baskets, that we need to widen the expense. So we do have funds budgeted for this. So it's just a matter of coordinating, getting the forms out there, and there's a lot of volunteers who are going to be helping do that as well.
James, would you mind mentioning that to the audience, please? I'd appreciate it if they would hear that as well.
We actually, with our partnership with Navajo, I didn't mention that because I've only spoken with you, and I didn't feel comfortable bringing that out yet. But with our partnership, the city already has funds programmed to complete this project. So I would love to start tomorrow, but we have the 4th of July next Tuesday. So we'll have to coordinate with that. But I know this is something that I would like to get up and rolling just as soon as possible. So I know Crystal is still going to be put as the lead as far as the city employee on this project, but we're going to get started on this just as soon as we can.
That would be great.
With that being said, I'm going to order baskets by week's end so that they'll be here assembled with everything waiting to be put in the ground. Still waiting on 2 quotes for cement that we may or may not have complete funding for all that, but 2 more quotes because it takes about a yard and a half for T-pad. So once those quotes come in, it'll be basically scheduling at that point if we're allowed to drive out to pour cement. Of course, we're not to watch out for sprinkler heads and so forth, but hopefully it goes smoothly at that point. Baskets will be ordered, and then hopefully by the end of next week we'll have all the bids for the cement work.
Thank you, Talon.
Since he brought that up, is there gonna be a problem with getting the concrete to where it needs to be without going over the lines too much?
That is something that we can overcome. There are ways to do that. There are ways.
Okay, all right, very good. So, James, you're asking for approval of the design, and from this
Yes,
point,
sir.
if you do get approval, then it'll go to the city commission, is that correct?
Actually, no, sir, I don't believe this would have to go to the city commission.
Okay, all right.
We really just wanted to have more public input and give members of the public players who are here or not here the opportunity to voice their opinion, because this is their course. But I just think it would be, I guess, more sanctionable if it had some type of promotion from something appointed by the city commission. So this body's perfect for it.
See how much authority you guys have already?
And I
They're like, I like this.
I was
Yes.
just gonna say that there is, in California and out on the East Coast, both the schools are starting to incorporate disc golf into actual school activity sport.
Oh,
It
wow.
is a very large growing sport. It's one of the fastest growing sports.
Really? Fantastic. It's a fun play. It's a fun
It is.
sport to play. It
High
really is.
school or college level or both?
It's, there is high school.
It's actually, it starts in junior high,
Yeah.
actually.
And anybody can play it.
And you can play.
Yeah. Cool. Very good. All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, we'll go to a vote for approval. All of just,
Mayor, we have to have a motion in a second.
oh, that's right, we never did. Okay. I'll entertain the motion.
I make the motion that we approve the design for the disc golf course.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. All right. Now, all in favor for approval, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Anything else, James?
Actually, I do have a couple of updates. One of the things that we discussed at the City Commission meeting on Monday was attendance at board meetings. And the direction that staff received is we actually have a mechanism in place where we have members who don't call in or have consecutive absences where they didn't check with the chair of the different boards, and that's considered an automatic termination. So we're just letting every board member know that if you don't have the time to commit, please let us know. We can replace you. You can still have the opportunity to solicit your comment through public input, but we do need members of the different various boards or appointed commissions to attend the meetings. For instance, we have two members. Ms. Holguin was not able to attend today's meeting. She did call in advance. We have Rachel Gallagher as well. I know she has a lot on her plate. She hasn't been able to attend the meeting on a regular basis, but she did call in today. But we are going to be looking at the attendance of the different boards to take care of it. So we didn't want to give everybody a call since we had a meeting today with y'all, but all the other boards will be getting the same notification. And also, I wanted to give you an update on our cattail problem. So this was taken, I'm going to turn the lights off for this. So this was taken February 1st of this year. This is north. This side of the map is north. And you can see that we do have a cattail problem. We've had a growing problem. We had a concentration down here along this bank, and at this time it was only a small problem here. This area was completely filled in. The greatest concern that we had was this. And you notice that that's not algae, that's just shallow water. And the reason that's for a lot of concern is that's where our pump intake is for the irrigation system. So we tried using some poison on the plants that was grass friendly, because the way that we irrigate the park is there's a water well located just to the west of this pump intake. It fills the lake here, and then the water gets pulled out of here and it feeds the irrigation system. So you can look at that lake and golly, I think that system uses like 74,000 gallons in a 24-hour period. So the water in there isn't just stagnant and sitting, it gets turned over quite a bit. But we were worried about choking those pumps down. But we couldn't use regular poison that they use to kill out and eradicate cattails, because we would kill all of our grass. It's like super Roundup. It kills everything on contact. So we did try cutting them down. When we closed the pool last year, we used those extra hands to start cutting those things out. It's a very aggressive, invasive species. We even tried burning them. So one thing that we did, after all of those attempts, we wanted to, I know a lot of people thought the solution was, which it did turn out in this case to be it, was to use a big excavator, but you can only get out there so far. And we actually broke some lines getting in there, but we wanted to make sure we save our pool. So this was taken on May 22nd. This was the first day that we actually had started the remediation project. We move along to 6-6. You can actually see this area down here is cleared out, but you see this big gap our excavator could only reach so far. You can see over here, we had so much sediment and the cattails were so dense that you could actually put the backhoe out on there.
Really?
And water was being choked down. But we got as far, Wyatt was operating the excavator. We shut down actually prior to this because of the Memorial Day holiday. And one of the things that the guys were doing when they were excavating was they were actually making the area next to the shoreline substantially deeper. If you get it deeper than 3 foot, sunlight can't penetrate and it eradicates the potential for growth in the future. So we made it actually a lot deeper. How many truckloads did we finally wind up hauling off of cattails and mud that we removed?
There was probably over about 60 truckloads.
Yeah,
Really?
60 truckloads, a lot. But we had these huge mounds. This was taken today.
Oh, wow.
And actually there's been even further improvement. All of the cattails here were gone. You see these, I call them little cattail mohawks, because the big excavator we had still couldn't reach out far enough. This area is still, they're actually working on this area right now. But you can see we actually deepened this channel here. We reached out as far as we could.
That's great.
So this is what we're doing now. We have a rowboat, and actually I ran into one of our local fishermen. He came in one day and we were chatting, and he told me about this tool that when he had a pond, he lived in Texas, and he had a pond that he had a cattail problem for, and he said he fought those things and fought those things. And he said that this little old man one day just gave him this tool, kind of looked like a sickle but shorter, and just the way he described it, he said, I was able to actually clear this a room this size in about an hour by hand.
Really?
With the cattails.
Yeah.
And it looks like a medieval weapon. We actually found it online, so we ordered 2 of them. So these guys are out. The reason they're in a boat is because near the bank, it's deeper now, and they didn't want to get wet, but they actually wound up getting really wet.
Okay.
But they wound up clearing out those little mohawks right now. They're clearing out this area.
Wow.
Matter of fact, that's what our shoreline looks like, standing right there at the entrance, or near the entrance to the swimming pool, and looking to the south.
Good.
So hopefully we can have everything cleared out. Right now, we're getting the park ready for 4th of July. And we've actually pulled individuals away from different departments. We have 8 extra personnel out there right now,
wow,
plus summer hands who are helping us to repaint some shelters. We're out there. We've got the lift out. We're trimming back dead trees. I think they wound up finished doing all the weed eating on the trail. We did do a little flyover. Oh, and got a little surprise for you guys. Our fountain, we've got it up and running. And it's using reclaimed water. Not reclaimed, but it's kind of like a pond, recirculating, yeah. One of your ponds. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. That's the way it used to be. Just like
Yeah.
Is that the drone?
That is the drone.
All right. All right.
So you can actually see, even compared to last year, compared to last year, we've got a lot more Bermuda grass growing throughout the park. There are still some weeds. We did have an issue with some of our pumps getting clogged up. We had to replace some circuit boards. But we actually have a lot more grass growth, so our park is on the way back. Now, there are some bare spots out there, and I've got to get with Dr. Young over at Texas Tech. You can see kind of just to the west of the playground. It's really prevalent around the east bank of the amphitheater. It's just very hard and compacted soil. And we're going to get that soil tested, but I believe we're going to wind up having to bring in some topsoil to remediate those areas. Especially this area here. It's just, this is high traffic as well, but the soil is just so dense and compacted that we can't get anything really established. We've seeded the park. We were a little late getting the pre-emergent down, but we did fertilize the park, and it really took off from them. You can actually see our berms are filling in with Bermuda grass, really nice. Of course, some of this is artificial turf, and then that's all the sod that we had put in.
I love the drone video. That's fantastic.
I didn't have time to insert it, but right after we started doing flyovers to compare it to now, there is just a substantial difference.
Good. Tell us about the gopher problem.
The gopher problem is all over. Like some of the holes that we have out at softball field, there, we pay a pest eliminator, or what do you call them? Exterminator. Sorry, an exterminator every month to come out.
Yeah.
We're doing the best we can to eradicate those.
You have watched Caddyshack, haven't you?
We are not going to Caddyshack Chaparral Park. There is a tool that they do use, but I'm afraid it would tear up our $1 million sprinkler system.
What's he doing when he comes out?
It's actually poison. Okay. But we do have, and that's part of the responsibility that we have for the crews who are working out there for the 4th. They will be working. We told them, with the volume of work that we have, we are authorizing some overtime for them for Friday and Saturday, and part of that is to fill in gopher holes. Okay. The best we can, since we have that event out at the park on Tuesday.
Very good.
Like I brought up to you the other day, if you don't get the cattails out of that wastewater plant, you're not going to stop them out of that park over there.
We were actually discussing that this morning.
Is the zip line up and running?
The zip line, yes. Actually, the zip line, they have not installed the new platform. Instead of the line breaking, the platform that you would climb up on, it actually, the welds broke on it. So the company sent us, and apparently they sent us something that didn't even look like it was the right part, but it's the new and improved version. It's sturdier. It actually has stairs, so they're going to be installing that this week as well.
All right, very good.
And how's the splash pad doing?
Splash pad's doing great.
No problems with having the backwash and the sand?
No, we got a little bit better sand, and we're still working on our communication issue with that where it sends the alarms through the phone. We're having to speak with some folks in Canada to get that patch system up and running on there.
Thank you, James. Yeah, that drone is nice, man. I like that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to utilize that drone for the flyover for the new course doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If the pilot don't need to turn so fast.
You're standing too close.
I did
Yeah,
that.
way too close.
Can you ever mix in audio with that? Does that have that kind of capability?
We can put, oh no, you can't with it. It does not have a microphone on it.
Okay. I mean, after you download the video.
Oh, we can add music and narration to it. Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's what I was talking about, narration. What was that, Crystal?
You can edit it.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool.
Photoshop.
Yeah. All right, very good. Any other questions or comments from the board regarding any of the topics we discussed? What you guys can do is tell all your friends, hey, we got a disc golf course coming to Lovington. Kind of like read up on it, find out about it, get involved. That's why we have you here. Right? You guys are promoters now. You get promoted to promoters. All right. All right, very good. Anything else, James?
No, sir, that's it.
All right, Marla.
Yes, on Pope Park, they did come pick up the tree branch that come down on the east end. On the west end, the same tree that they had trouble with before, at the bottom, it's got branches growing through the fence.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mark.
How's the boat activity?
People have been using it. I haven't had the time to go out there yet. But actually, just a couple of days after the ordinance went into effect, there's some people out there fishing. They had a kayak built for two. There's been a lot of phone calls. People want to know, so it is being utilized.
What did we ever decide on the life vest? I forget.
I think it's optional, right?
It's, I believe if you're 13 and under, that we require it.
For adults, it's up to them. Right?
Yeah, that old boy the other day was paddling pretty hard to keep that skier up behind.
Okay. We need to give him a sickle.
Yeah.
All right. Andres, anything else? All right. Girls, anything else? Questions or comments? You guys are good?
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's no further comment, I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion to end the meeting.
We adjourn. All right. Do we have a second?
Second it.